It's the English and English podcast.
That's Brett.
That's Eric.
We're ready to speak.
Yes, we are. We have begun
so much speaking.
I have so much to tell you about.
We have such sights to show you.
Right.
So what are we talking about?
I've seen
Captain America now.
I think first up, we'll jump into that, and we'll preface it right away with saying spoilers, of course. If you haven't seen it at this point,
you're probably not a super fan.
You're probably not interested because it's been out for a couple
Or even if you're interested, you're probably not worried about spoilers too much.
Right. It doesn't mean, at this point, we're in spoiler territory. It's been over 2 weeks.
And we're warning the shit out of you, so...
Yeah.
Exactly. So I definitely liked it, overall. The one thing I didn't like about it, or I don't even know if I didn't like it, but, to me... I don't even know if I understand the overall, plot of this dude. I'm like, is that really the plot of this one guy, supposedly this, weird psychiatrist guy? His whole plot was to,
he's a fake psychiatrist.
Right, he's a fake psychiatrist. His whole plot was to find out where these super soldiers were, just to show that video of Winter Soldier killing Iron Man's parents in the hopes that he would react so badly to it that it would totally break up the Avengers. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
It's a bit of a stretch, yeah. Now, it is because in the comics, Baron Zemo is a lot more of an actual supervillain, but he does, mind game type machinations is his signature.
Right.
So
they're sort of trying to go along with that, but, that was a pretty,
And also, he's a very different character. He's, the two things that he did, it's confusing because they don't really make it clear that he was taking advantage of the new law and then framed Bucky. The law was already coming about. And
right,
then,
so that had nothing to do with him, I guess?
No, the law was coming about because the United Nations was mad that just like in real life, if a bunch of really good
Which that makes sense. They should have just stuck with that.
Right. It was the problem is both of those plots are fine, they dilute each other.
Yeah, they almost make the other one weaker.
Right. And that was my big complaint about it, is I like the idea of him.
I mean, it's a nice stronger story if it was just him
sowing dissent.
Yeah, or just the idea of Captain America being no, this isn't freedom. This is just in number
but
two.
That's what I wanted the most, where he was
But other than that, I mean, the actual stuff that happened as a result of this kind of weak plot was still great. I still like the movie, but I just thought that was it was a little almost too weak to what?
They were running one. They ran one plot.
And it was hard to see how
they
they were supposed to exactly overlap.
And then when the UN gets bombed, the UN Council in Vienna, that was the guy set it up to frame Bucky so that because he knew Captain America would try to
defend him
and break the law to do so.
But that really didn't have much to do with the Accord.
No, it was just him exploiting the Accord. And then, because his whole point was he wanted them to fight each other, and the Accord was the perfect excuse to get that started.
Right.
Because he could frame Bucky, knowing that he would, Captain America would break the law and intervene where he was not sanctioned to in order to save Bucky, and because the UN Council in charge of these things would be after Bucky. But it just seemed crazy,
he's doing all this, does this video not exist anywhere else?
Yeah.
That he couldn't have just said, hey, guess what?
Bucky killed your parents. He said... The one thing that kind of explains it is when he captures the first guy in his home.
And he's there's a harder way to do this, but...
Well, no, he said he basically was trying to find from him where that location was, where all the data was stored on the Winter Soldier's activities.
Right, but that's the only reason he was trying to get it was to get that video?
To get basically... I mean,
that's kind of weak to me.
Yeah, but it was one case...
Because he obviously knew that was the case, he just didn't have the video of it. So he could have, just
We didn't have proof. He just wanted proof.
Right.
Because he said he had the documents... It said when Black Widow released the documents online, a man with patience could figure it out. They dumped so much, people didn't see everything that was in there. But a man with patience can accomplish much. It was the impression that he figured out what the Winter Soldier had done without having the proof of it.
Right.
And knew that he was, or guessed that he was involved in Tony Stark's death.
It just seemed like a weak plan to me. Because Captain America knew. What if he had already told Tony Stark?
Captain America suspected. Because in the first movie, in Winter Soldier, there's that scene where he goes down to talks to the robot of, Toby Jones' character, the other Z name villain.
The guy who's in the computer, yeah.
Right, yeah.
The Hydra guy.
Yeah. He's, Zola. Yeah, and he talks to him and he says and when history did not cooperate, it was made to cooperate. And it shows Tony Stark being X'd off the list and other people that they basically implying that
Hydra had them executed.
Had them executed. And in an earlier Iron Man movie, it had showed a newspaper saying Stark family dies in a car crash. And that's when Tony takes over the company. Right. And so it implies that the car crash was not accidental then in that movie. So it harkens back to 2-3 movies ago, 4 movies ago. and then they made it.
But it's what I mean. It's just. I guess he was just supposed to be so good at like figuring out how people would react. But even still, like, so one of the Avengers is mad at one, maybe two of the other people. Well, I mean, like, why is this result in like the absolute destruction of it?
Well, it would because he did it now because the law meant that them fighting against each other made them on different sides of the government.
Yeah, I guess now because Captain America is fighting, everyone else would have to fight against him or something. But
right, either they would all have to side against Captain America.
But at best, it still eliminates only like half of them because one side's going to win. And then...
Well, he wanted to break the spirit, you know, like basically fracture them so that
it's not retarded, it's just weak, I think. You know what I mean? It's not very realistic.
It weakens the other story. It causes a split plot focus.
Right.
And it weakens the other story. Like I said, I think it would have been a fine story if the whole premise was something is causing things where these guys are butting heads.
Right.
Like the Avengers start to butt heads just apropos not of a law, but just like,
right.
You know, they start getting on each other's nerves.
It almost would have been better if it the other way around. Like, this issue raised tensions between them, then the Accord came into place, and they're like, you know what, fuck you, and it kind of like was more intense as a result of that because they already were mad at each other rather than the other way around.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now it's a result of like them sort of being super divided on this issue, which they didn't really give enough. I mean, they sort of explained it by like, Tony Stark feels so bad because this one mom came up and like, that was weak too. You know what I mean? Like,
it was all shorthand.
Yeah,
that's the one thing you have to say.
They were showing, not telling, or they were telling, not showing.
But well, not only that, it was that you can look at something like Batman, Superman that was trying a very similar kind of theme, obviously, but for different reasons.
Yeah, but I mean, like that almost makes more sense. But I mean, still, like,
but I mean, this still did more
how
successful.
many. I mean, obviously, I guess some people might. Some people might agree with that line of thinking of like, oh, what have we done? But like, when you look, they showed the picture of like the aliens come in New York City. Like, seriously, that's their fault.
Right.
Like, if they'd never been there, the entire planet would be destroyed. Like,
right. Well,
that's absolutely illogical.
That's why I think that was one thing I thought that was good because it is illogical to blame the Avengers.
Right.
But that's how politics work.
It is. But I don't think any of the Avengers themselves would have ever felt that way.
Well, except that
it's too obvious that like if we were there, everyone would have died.
Right. The problem is that like. It's true, and that's also what happens in real life. You get people who are hang up on something like Tony Stark, who's very much like Tony Stark in the movies. Normally, he's the guy who doesn't follow the rules, right? But then he decides something, and everybody better go along with it. He's
I mean that makes sense. I just don't. It just seems like such a stretch for anyone, especially someone who sort of would be like a rationalizer or something like that.
He's the guy who most feels guilty because he created Ultron.
Yeah, so I guess they could...
So that was the thing. Like, they were hammering Sokovia on him, and he caved because he felt responsible. But the problem was then he wanted to drag everyone else into his guilt.
Right.
And so that actually kind of fits the Tony Stark characterization.
But it's just... I guess it just feels like rushed.
Feels like... Well, because they had to make it happen in 2 hours plus all the fight scenes.
Right.
You know, so yes,
so it wasn't
rushed.
totally... But I just...
The setup is decent, but the most glossed over part of the thing. But... Right. It's a good excuse for all of the crazy good. Like, the one thing I like about the Captain America movies, I love they even more so than like the Avengers. They get the perfect pitch for just how much superhero-ness goes on. You know what I mean? Like the scene where he pulls the helicopter down is just strong enough where you're like, yes, you know. It's not like Hulk level where he just auto smashes it, you know, because Hulk smash.
Right,
you know?
But he's like superhuman, but not. You know, they're not. There's limits to their powers.
Right, but it also, you know, like fall 3 stories off a building and just land and be like, ah, shit, you know, and get up and then like, or they're running down the highway. And he's not so fast that he does eventually get in a car because it's going to be faster.
But they're still like 40 miles an hour.
They're doing like 40 miles an hour down this tunnel, like, you know, and it's just kind of like pretty cool, like, and it's like, and then grab and stop a motorcycle just with your strength, you know, and stuff like.
Yeah, that stuff's cool. And so I definitely like the movie. It's enjoyable. Yeah. It's more enjoyable just for those parts and not really worrying about like why and how it...
I would still recommend it if you like any of the Marvel movies wholeheartedly.
I'd still say it's better than Age of Ultron.
Yeah, it juggled more characters more successfully than Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and like the fight scenes with, I like Ant-Man getting big and stuff.
Like there's fun bits. Yeah. Like and it's got a lot of stuff in there, but that's what's so funny about it. They had a lot of stuff that was obviously shoehorned in just for fan service.
But they did a better
work. It was still more fun.
Like there's a lot
like Spider-Man literally shows up apropos of nothing. Like, hey, I'm going to go pick up somebody to add to the scene.
But they did it well.
And it was entertaining.
Whereas like something like Age of Ultron felt like cobbled together and they didn't do it well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, felt like we need this scene, we need this scene, we need this scene, and they just like smashed it all together.
Yeah, I think
they didn't smooth out the scenes very well.
Like, obviously he's done a lot of good things, Joss Whedon, but I think he's overhyped.
Yeah.
I think he was like the great hope of nerddom for a while because he was one of the biggest proponents.
Well, who knows how much, like when you're talking about a franchise like the Avengers, like there's a lot of things that they had to have to happen in that movie.
He was at a bigger
regardless of
disadvantage.
what him. Yeah. So he
was
if he
at a
thought
bigger
it was
disadvantage.
stupid, it probably was not up to
He
him.
probably had a lot more coming down from studios to say.
Right.
Although it was clear that the Russo brothers in this one did it too. They were told to introduce Spider-Man, and Black Panther.
Right, and who knows
Two
how
characters
much
they
of
have
that
to,
is
throw
like
in.
controlled by them. Either way, they did a good job with it.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is like Joss Whedon. What's crazy to me is that like he was. I think everybody loved him for a while because of they were fans of his TV shows where he kind of cut his teeth, like Buffy and Firefly and Angel and stuff. And then, but those, I mean, like I like Firefly, but I think Joss Whedon's stuff gets a little old to me. Like you watch it, it's kind of get like Tarantino. You've seen this before, eventually.
And he can it almost can be like a parody of his own stuff sometimes.
Right, you know what quip they're going to say here. And
it becomes like his stuff can become like a parody of his stuff. Like you watch Tarantino movies now and it's like someone exaggerating his earlier stuff and you're just like, wow, it's still his. But calm down, just go back.
Although I will say he did a really good job with the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, it was excellent. I thought the first Avengers movie is probably the best of all the Marvel movies, followed closely by Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I probably place Winter Soldier ahead of the first Avengers, just because to me it hits me right in the just in the spot. Yeah. But yeah, like I think the problem with Joss Whedon is he's really kind of a, cuck basically.
Yeah, he is. That's the problem.
It's the same problem. It's the same
comes
thing
out
with like everybody loves, everybody loves like him and Kevin Smith because they were the first two directors.
Female characters.
Choosing everywhere. Right, yeah. Oh, strong female character. Right. Yeah. And he was the first director who had made it by starting out in comic books, and then Kevin Smith was the first. Basically, they're the only directors that had both written comics and directed film and TV. And so, like, nerds all loved him because they were unabashed nerds as well.
Right.
But that doesn't inherently make you a good
writer. Some of their stuff was good, and that's why they got popular, and now you can't rest on those laurels.
But yeah, like I said, the promise we're saying, like I said, the cuck stuff always comes out. Like, it starts to... And, like, he had his little breakdown after people got mad over Age of Ultron for not having enough, like the scene where Black Widow's upset that she can't have children, or whatever.
And everyone's like,
and then he had
so
to like
weak,
apologize,
real powerful, and I'm like, you fucking cuck.
Right, like this is honestly like you can have a person. Clearly, she's not a weak character in these shows at all.
That's the problem,
and that's just a tragic flaw that they introduced to be like, oh look how much she gave up to be what she is.
Right,
was forced to give up.
Right, yeah, it wasn't even like her choice.
Right,
and I mean that's the problem. When these people they don't understand like. Well, first, they don't understand women and men to begin with. So they look at a strong woman is supposed to be being strong in the same ways that, like, a dude is strong.
Right,
which just becomes a comical, like,
I
absurdity.
mean, it is a comic book movie, so every physical person does more than, not even the superpowered
and no one's mad about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no one's like, wait a second, a woman can never really do that.
Right. I mean, you could say that in a movie that's trying to be born,
like someone like her that's, like, fighting the Black Panther and like even being semi-competitive, and it's like, dude, this guy's like ripping car doors off his bare hands and stuff. Yeah. And she's not even supposed to have superpowers. This would be a mauling.
Right, yeah. But in comic book
but
movies,
no one cares. Like,
but the Archer can still do stuff.
Yeah,
that,
like, okay, fine. Like, we've accepted that world, so now we're just watching it. But I mean, like, it's when
Batman could still go toe to toe with Superman if he sets up the tools. It's how it works. It's comic books.
Right.
Everybody can do amazing things, whether they have powers or not. It's adventure. It's schlock. So that in that world, but that's the funny thing about it. Even in a world in which it's plausible because the rules of the world are beyond ours and stretchier than ours, so to speak.
And also, I hate people the thing that like people get upset. So like even if you think that that would be a weakness for her to have that. Real people have weaknesses. So, like, why would you get mad that the character has, like, what you consider to be a flaw?
That's the thing.
People have flaws.
Why it's dumb. It's because anytime a woman has a flaw, you're denigrating her glory.
Or you're saying,
anytime a man doesn't have a flaw, it's bad writing.
Right.
When that's little true. If you write a character with no flaws, it's
weird.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
You're either writing a god or some sort of a moral tale immortal where he, like, always gets it right, But
even if it's stupid or not, it usually just makes for a poor entertainment. Right. Because it's just so, like... The mind rejects it, kind of.
Right, and also,
you know what I mean?
Almost all stories are about overcoming
conflict
something
of some kind.
So if you have no way to lose the conflict or nothing to overcome within yourself, or then there's
either way, then there's nothing to. What are you watching? Moving pictures, literally.
Right
at that point. So Yeah, so that's always.
It'd be like hosting the Olympics if there's one guy who always gets tens. Everybody else is going to go home. You know, like it's just not going to be a contest.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, but it's funny because. Yeah, for that same reason where you're like, look, even if you think that this is, or they'll say like, this is so bad that you made this character like rape or something per se, and it's like you're not supporting this. You're just saying that this is happening. Like
this is what scarred them. This is why
bad guys do bad things.
Right.
Even good guys do bad things sometimes. Like bad guys do good things. It's human nature. If you have completely one-sided characters with no real bad or good things happening, then
exactly.
It's just a weird, unrealistic story.
It's just everybody's so divorced from reality these days. They just want everything to be their totem symbols for whatever their totem thing is, I guess. To whatever their little cause du jour. It's just, as some have said, it's just hitting peak period now because everybody,
it's getting to the point of absurdity. It's like flaring up at the top before it crashes back down.
Exactly. They're straining the most before they apex and crash back to the earth.
Like sputtering
it's that
out of
moment
the peak
in which
of the
Wile E.
stall.
Coyote is going.
Well, it's like the airplane at the peak of its stall where they're revving it, like it's going straight up and not moving at all.
Redlining the engine,
barely going up until it's going to die and then fall back to earth.
The whole engine will putter out.
Yeah, just stall basically. Literally. Which I'm honestly not looking forward to the snapback because everything always goes the opposite direction past the equilibrium point in response. So like the way people now are so like, it's okay. You're supposed to not only like
support and celebrate, and
not only identify your weaknesses, but actually celebrate and encourage them. It's going to get to the point where it's the exact opposite. Where like no talk of any weaknesses will be tolerated. You know what I mean? Like, no flaw. Like we say, like if you have a flaw, you're stupid and weak. And
they're
it's like,
abusing freedom. So guess what? We're going to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
They've abused
in response to this, that's going to be.
People will be so tired of these people who excess and abuse freedom that they'll be.
Although in some ways you're actually seeing the opposite. Like when it comes to the speech, they're being so controlling of like you can't say that, you can't. There's eventually you'll be fuck that. You say whatever the fuck you want.
Mix.
It is a weird mix.
You'll get a weird thing where like it'll probably snap back over the next 100 years hard in things like sexual mores.
Right,
like it'll move towards like what
Puritan,
Islam stuff
Islam. Like women cannot show their ass cheeks hanging out their shorts,
right?
Because it'll just that's the other side of the coin. And when you get that far out of equilibrium, it tends to snap back the other direction.
But the other way, the plus side is it's already way far out of the equilibrium hard in terms of the self-policing of thought. And
so
speech.
luckily that will get better.
Right, that will probably get better.
Go more libertarian, but yeah, like you said, in the terms of other stuff, because of all this craziness, it'll probably get to where it's almost too controlled. And just like annoying in that sense too, back to the church people and the Puritans trying to be all
Although in the end, though, what can be said is that system lasts longer.
It's a more stable system,
right?
For sure.
I mean, like Islam, for everything that it does wrong, it has not fallen off the face of the earth.
No, because exactly.
Like it controls its reproductive future, so to speak.
Right.
Versus, the societies that moved into low fecundity and
they just burn out. They flame out pretty quick.
Yeah. Not that but like I said, that's what you were saying. It's not that I want that future.
It's a value statement. It's just, this is what is going to happen.
Right.
Like when I stretch the rubber band out to this side, when I let go, it's going to go out the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just what happens.
Yeah.
When I dump a certain type of things into the water, it can cause like an algae bloom or fish death or whatever. Everything just goes in the other direction.
Yep.
So that's just cause and effect.
Yep.
But noticing that tends to make people think that you're actually supporting it.
Yeah. That's always the funny thing. When you prognosticate about like a potential future or where you think this road will lead us, they automatically assume that you're saying that should happen. It's
right.
Like, no, I'm talking about that's where it's going. I may be saying we should try to avoid it by doing X.
Yeah, like if you say like it's like I'm going to put 175 psi in my tire, and you're like, that's going to explode. And you're like, why do you want my tires to explode?
Right, yeah.
What?
I don't. I'm telling you, stop doing this.
But I know that if you pump it up with that much air, you're going to fucking explode.
Right.
Why do you hate air? Why are you trying to keep me from having as much air as I want? Go for it. Do it.
Right, yeah.
Do it. But make sure your face is an inch from that thing.
Right, yeah, exactly. Get your nose
go all in.
Close. Yeah. While we're on movies, one of the recent stories I saw was apparently good old Sean Penn is in the news. His latest movie that he
which I hadn't even heard
I have no idea either. I just only saw it because apparently it's the worst panned movie at Cannes Festival that he's ever had.
Harvey Bardot and his wife
and former wife. It was filmed when they were still married. They broke up like a year ago.
Okay.
And
Charlize Theron.
Yeah, it's some over the top. I mean, what's funny about it is because I could completely, without having seen this movie, just reading the synopsis,
I know
exactly what it is and why it was panned. It was basically a movie about it's called The Last Face, where the two characters are relief workers in some African scenario, and they fall in love. And so it was panned by people not taking by shoehorning in a relationship story and
using the plight of Africans as a backdrop.
Or it was panning the other way, like, oh, you got this stupid, like ham-fisted plight of Africans on top of a ham-fisted relationship story. Like, oh, neither is particularly adroit,
Right.
So it was just kind of funny, yeah. Like, this was
funny.
Back to talking peak cuck,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's just like this stuff is just coming
They're
out.
probably going to adopt a bunch of babies from Africa.
Oh, she already has.
No, I meant like in real life, but I mean like in the movies. I know she has in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's one of those things that what's funny to me, and this is kind of stuff that I've talked about before in the podcast, is people just don't understand like the natural order of morality. Like, it's pretty obvious throughout most human societies, the things that have worked and have been praised in all systems is that there's a natural order, i.e. you take care of your own first, and then you take care of those you can after, right?
Well, that's what's it? I think it was Stefan Molyneux had a recent video that was like, when you have two groups and one is like an in-group oriented and they care more about the in-group than the out-group, and you have another group that cares more about out-group than in-group, then it's going to be obviously
the in-group
focused group is obviously going to take over. Not even in like a violent takeover. It's just going to outlast, because like you're talking about, I care more about your interests, and you're like, I care more about my interests too.
So
guess who's going to be successful?
Right. Yeah. We're going to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So, and obviously that's what we're seeing now with like the European migrant crisis and all that stuff. Like, this goes back to say what you about the morality of it. When you have one group that's like, we care more about ourselves and we care about Germany, and Germany's like, right now we care more about you too. Guess what's going to happen in Germany? It's going to become whatever these
focused
other people,
on what they want.
Yeah, what they want, good or bad.
Right.
That could in some cases maybe make the country last longer, be better, whatever. But in some cases,
it never makes the country last longer.
I'm just saying theoretically could, but that's true.
It always tries to do a new thing. It could be a better version.
It changes. It may be there longer, better version of it, but it'll definitely
like you said,
change it.
Apropos of none of the moral question, it is simply a factor of the choices. If you have, like you said, if you have two people, one says, I do things with interest that serve me and mine, and the other person says, I do things that interest you. Guess how? Then you're going to have two things being done that interest.
Right. Everyone's working in favor of the interests of one group or one person. Then guess whose interests are going to come to the forefront, or guess whose ideas, whose culture, whose way of life, whose problems.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like
whose flaws are going to be magnified,
and whose strengths will be magnified as well. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, and as we know from history and just normal life, most people have a lot more flaws than they have strengths.
Yeah, exactly. The average,
especially in these particular situations, the flaws that are getting magnified are absolutely suicidal.
Yeah, that's just the crazy thing about it to me. Is it's just like I said, all human beings are flawed, right? So like that's a given. And the great history of man is that even the best of us has not been perfect enough to forestall all catastrophe and all failure and all flaw. But at the same time, it's just there's so many things that are so obviously dumb, and people just like, they don't just fail to stop it, they run towards it, and it's like,
champion
it. Yeah, it's like, geez. I understand the
failing. It's not just a question. We're not just talking about like, man, I know I should eat healthy, but this stuff tastes good. We're talking about this like something that has no benefit whatsoever, other than maybe it's some sort of mental thing where they feel good
looks
about
cool, like,
and they just run towards it and just like
watch as I cut myself, you know, like they get attention, and then but you're also bleeding to death, you know. But I got attention. You are bleeding to death,
right?
But
How
I
much
got
does
attention.
Matter when
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing that writ large on the whole world stage.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Very interesting. I think a lot of it has to come down with like a weird inverted, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like the human mind for a lot of these people cannot tolerate this like complete focus on self-actualization. It like breaks down.
Yeah.
It like when a lot of, and not for everyone, but for a lot of people. Like obviously not for you and I and people that are stable. But there's a lot of people when their mind is set totally in self-actualization, top of the pyramid, with absolutely no concern for like having to get food, having to get, shelter. Right. Like even for hobos, that's not really a concern. Like they're not worried that they're going to starve to death, at least not in the West. You know what I mean? Like, there's no concern that, like, maybe I'll die of starvation over the next few years. Like, that's absolutely will not happen. Because if you're laying on the road, the ambulance is going to come pick you up. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to die of starvation. You're not... So, like, you don't have dinosaurs chasing you. You don't have invading, barbarians. At least not in the same sense that you did back in the day. Exactly. So your entire mind is focused on this self-actualization part. And,
right. And for some people that's just feeling good with drugs or whatever.
They don't even know what it is. They don't know what to do with that. And their brain implodes at it. It's just the thought of it. Because you see a lot of these people that have that are like cutters and all this other stuff. Like, they wouldn't be doing that. I'm saying I absolutely know for a fact they would not be doing this stuff if they were like in a wilderness survival situation from birth. You know what I mean? If you put them there now, obviously they would like.
I'm not so sure about that. I think it would be a lot less, but you look at other primitive societies, they would do weird stuff like pierce their noses.
Right, but that was a conscious effort. I'm talking about as a result of like, oh, I'm so distraught with my existence, kind of like, Yeah, like maybe, the people who would get weeded out pretty quick, I guess. But you wouldn't have.
Well, no, I mean they just ritualized it, is what I'm saying. It turned into ritual, but it did not impede them from doing the hunting and the gathering.
I don't think they had this like focus on like, oh, I'm depressed.
No, they certainly didn't. They would just.
Because you'd be like, well, you're still going to go hunt, so here's your spear. Shut the fuck up.
Right, yeah.
And if they didn't, some people wouldn't. They would
die. I think sometimes they didn't, and that's why a lot of those societies never advanced. Because they would all be stuck in their delusions, or they're like, more concerned with, like the Mayans, more concerned with cutting their dicks to get blood out to appease the god. Like that's literally what some of their rituals were. And so it never advanced beyond anything.
I guess you just don't think you don't have
past
the ability
eating
to
slaves and shit.
Yeah.
Because they never.
But still, at least even in a culture like that, a lot more of your mental capacity is going to be taken up with the lower levels of the pyramid. You're not going to have total mental focus. That's a potential
bad example because even though the Mayans were primitive by the standards of the other people, it was a big culture with agriculture.
And
it wasn't
cities and million people and stuff like buildings.
Right. It was primitive compared to the European powers that found them, but they were more on
regardless of the culture. When you have a real things to worry about, I think it dampens the kind of just psychological issues that some of these people have otherwise when their brain has nothing else to focus on.
Right. Yeah.
Not that they wouldn't have been there, but I think it dampens the effect.
That's true.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? When you're in like the Chateau d'If or whatever for like stealing a loaf of bread, you're not thinking about this like fat acceptance or like rubbing my body and shit like that. I need to get out of here. Yeah, you're like, I need to fucking eat and I need to get the fuck out of here.
Right, yeah.
This is the same thing when you're working in a field, 14 hours a day or whatever, you're not worried about like
I guess like that's probably one of the saddest
what words
things about
I should
this.
use that like perceive women.
Like imagine if we do hit a post-scarcity world because of like robot construction
It'll
stuff.
just be all this.
What would we do with our time except navel gaze into
that's what I'm saying. What would happen with these people's minds? They already can't handle it.
This is funny.
They already can't.
This is funny because this leads me to think. I was thinking of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
And like VR is becoming big again and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was thinking everybody always laments like, what if the chances statistically. Like, if you accept the theory of evolution, this is, of course. If you accept the theory of evolution as it is proposed now, and that the conditions of life just happen when they line up,
right?
Because of the size of the universe, there will be other
Like they say, the shorthand is they say if life is a 1 out of a billion opportunity, then there should be billions of places that
because there's multiple trillions of planets and stars.
So it should be a billion instances of life,
right? Just a matter of how spread out they are,
and how far away.
Right. So then they wonder why aren't we seeing any evidence of it? Because we developed things that we can send out signals that would reach other stars.
Well, they say it's most likely that we're the most technologically advanced, or possibly.
Well, that's one of the questions, but another one. But here's the one I have: like why you never find aliens. I have a brilliant theory.
Yeah.
Every society, like if our society is any indication, it's probably most likely that they develop alternate reality systems before they develop faster than light travel.
So they're just
quiet planets with giant, alternate realities.
Well, they've gotten post-scarcity, so the robots are like supplying them.
But the robots have no vision, so they don't leave the planet.
Right, the robots don't care about it. They just do what they're telling them.
They just do what they're telling them to. And so they've got a massive system that keeps them perfectly in their bubble worlds where it's all exactly as they want it to be.
Right, they just experience whatever feelings they want to. And so
right, yeah.
They're no longer seeking like deeper knowledge.
Right, yeah. And a small cadre of what's left of the population plays hedonist inside these alternate realities where they get to do whatever they want.
Right.
And they never... So
like
you never get...
Matrix, basically.
And they don't even send out signals like television shows. They don't need to broadcast it. It's all...
Right,
they're all locked into the mind meld of
the internet.
Of the internet, yeah.
It's interesting.
So you never see any other societies because there's no point in leaving. They've all shut themselves off. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that's not our future. It's just, as cool as VR is, it's also just like, it's the great problem is that we find it better to bread and circus ourselves than to really fix the issues.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. But after that downer, let's move on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
What else we got?
Let me see. There was a couple other things. Oh yes, the Facebook censorship.
I just saw this. Yeah, this game. I mean, they're like they can't even control themselves. Like even just after the news broke that Facebook was controlling what shows
and
up
they had
in
that
the trending.
big thing
So it wasn't really. I mean, because like obviously. Yes, it's not censorship. It's a private company. They can do whatever they want. The bottom line is when it's about deception and things like that.
Well, the bottom line is that when it's special interests that pretend they're
That's
not
what I'm saying. It's about deception. It's about them acting like these are subjects that are really the most popular across the world, the trending stuff. But that's not what it is. It's stuff that they put up there because they want to promote it, and the stuff that they don't want to promote, they don't put up there. Some of it they let go on its merits because it's politically neutral or whatever. Some cat video and it's really trending, maybe it'll go up there. But yeah. So then everyone's like, no, they're not really like. Well, they just can mess with it a little bit, but they're not censoring. And then we have this situation with Lauren Southern, who is like a anti-feminist, basically just conservative kind of pundit, and she's Canadian, but she's a YouTube channel and website and all this. Anyway, so she just they censored one of her posts and said because it doesn't meet the community guidelines, your account is banned for 30 days. But the post had no profanity, didn't even really...
I can read it
verbatim, yeah.
It says, as I suspected, my friend who runs Disdain for Plebs, I'm assuming another site or group, has been banned on all his accounts that run the page, and Facebook deleted his post, calling them out for censoring conservatives. This is utterly insane. So basically, an associate of hers made a post condemning Facebook for...
Censoring. They got banned. She said, this person got banned just for complaining about censorship? What the hell's going on? She gets banned too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Ridiculous. So yeah, that's the state of these companies, and that was after this supposed meeting with a bunch of idiots like Glenn Beck,
all the super cucks of the conservative party,
and he was like, "Oh my god, this
man!"
I
used to listen to Glenn Beck sometimes. I used to drive a lot for work, Then I would listen to him in the mornings because I was driving at that time.
He devolved for sure.
He devolved like he's just a weepy little bitch.
Yeah, he's just a total bitch. He's a fucking lunatic. Yeah, he's a lunatic.
He's like, I trust Facebook because they had me over for lunch and cookies.
And the guy looked me in the eye. Yeah,
right. Yeah, looked me in the eye. Or something.
Yeah, it's like
cool. This guy is.
Did you get a chill down your leg like Chris Matthews and Obama?
Right, yeah, I bet he looked the guys in the eye that he ripped off to own Facebook as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Like Jesus.
Yeah, ridiculous. So yeah, so this is a state where they're open.
That's one of the things that like some people don't get. The whole reason I support Trump at this point is if nothing else to do with his policy, he's got at least a pair of balls.
I know.
He's at least a man, not like.
What's funny is I was thinking about this is like you have a situation where people say like, they say what's wrong with Trump and this and that, and you shouldn't let him be the one to fight for us. And I all I can think of in these situations where they basically try to not disavow, but what's the word that they
distance themselves?
Yeah, right. For someone who like, that we shouldn't allow them on our side because it makes us. Because I don't agree with everything they say. I think of like these scenes from the Lord of the Rings where there's all these people inside like Helm's Deep or whatever. Let's say to be a little nerdy, and there's these huge like walls.
We just talked about Captain America.
Yeah, all right. The two wall-to-wall orcs outside about to smash on the doors. We should make a skip about this, by the way. And then it shows the knights like, all right, man, we're about like the guy's giving a speech like we're about to take on the orcs. They're going to try and kill us. And the guy's like, wait a second. Didn't you do something like? Didn't you divorce your wife 2 weeks ago? I was like, what? Shut the fuck up, man! I'm trying to bring the guy here. Like, I don't know if I can follow this guy. Who else we got?
Didn't you support the Apple tax of
2016? And this guy's like, wait, but
I'm an Apple farmer.
You're not really a conservative because you're saying you want to fight these guys, but like last time you said, and they're like, let's get these guys out of here. Like they get rid of half the people because they don't agree with them before this like battle of life and death.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like that's about where we're at politically.
Yeah, exactly. That's something. Some people have said when I was talking about this in the well point is like at this point you got to go do it because the Republican Party, if the Democrats win another 8 years, there will not be a Republican Party to oppose them.
If they don't fix immigration, there will be no way for a legitimately conservative person to win an election just because of the number of votes on the Democratic side.
And that's what's so stupid to me is like this whole like Hispanics are natural conservatives. It's like Hispanics are social conservatives. Like a lot of them are Catholic,
right?
And so they're
so they're going to be against gay marriage and stuff like that, probably. But
but they're not like, and that's of course why the conservative Republicans. God, I love that word. It's so great because it's so perfect.
It's so rhetorically strong, but it's also descriptive, like properly descriptive.
Right, and it's just this is one of the truths that I've learned throughout the past 10 years. If it causes them to rustle, if it rustles the jimmies, you're probably right. That's the other reason I like Trump. It's just not that I think it's great, but he rustles the right people's jimmies. So
right, yeah, exactly. All the people who need their jimmies rustled are getting like epically rustled.
Right, yeah, exactly. So normally, I used to be the kind of person who probably would have thought conservative was a bit insulting. Like you can beat somebody without insulting them. Just be right. And then, but you know what? Turns out a lot of people don't respond to correct
Yeah,
argument.
as Aristotle said, some people are incapable of having their minds changed with actual information. You have to respond to them with rhetoric.
You gotta accept that, and it's hard to accept when you're a person who thinks that way,
and not only thinks that way, but takes pride in being someone who can adjust their viewpoint based on actual information.
If you do that though, you got to take
in the information. You have to take the information that these people
people don't do that.
Right.
So anyway, you got to use the weapons that rustle the jimmies to push them, to goad them into the right actions.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's
you're not going to kick out one of your best warriors before the orc fight just because you don't like his opinions on everything,
right?
Or think that if we win and he takes over, maybe he'll do a few things that you don't like. You're fighting for your life and death here. You know what I mean?
Right.
You gotta worry about
also,
that first.
it's just it's crazy to me that the conservatives, the neocons, whatever, thought that Hispanics should be great. It's because in reality they're not that different than the leftists. They just want to do different things with a strong central power.
Well, that's what I've always said. Yeah, the Republicans want to control everything except what you do with your money, and the leftists want to control everything except what you do with your sex life.
Right.
For the most part.
Right.
But they both want. Looking at the Venn diagram. 99% of your life is going to be controlled by no matter which one of these.
Well, they want to control. The conservatives want to control certain things that you do with their money, but they want to make it seem like they're not controlling that much.
Right.
And then the Democrats want to do certain things that you do with your sex life, such as anything heterosexual, right? But then they want to make it seem like
that's true. If you have consent and all this bullshit, so
right,
they're only paying lip service even to their own principles at this point on both sides,
right? Yeah,
the conservatives aren't really for financial freedom in many ways, and the liberals aren't even for social freedom.
They talk about financial freedom because they want to say that we're financial freedom for everybody. This is the problem with much of modern politics within America specifically, but in the West in general.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with everything else in the West as I am in America, of course, because America's where I live. But you see this case. Republicans will come out and say, we need to support free market, and that hits a talking point for people, something that gets them invested. But really, they're just arguing that because they know it'll draw up support for whatever their crony capitalism program that they want to do.
Whatever their non-free market plan.
Right, their non-free market plan. We need the free market, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, we're using government funds to support this business.
We need to control the free market in this way. That's really what they're saying.
Then, the Democrats talk about income equality or, fairness or social justice.
Yeah.
And they do that, again, not for everybody. They talk about it for everybody because it sounds nice, but it's really because their special interests... Mm-hmm. Companies and groups that make money off of clamoring for social justice, scolds that make money by showing up and scolding you, HR departments, federal HR departments that show up to say, you need to pay me a salary to find out where you're fucking wrong, and then walk about and do the Inquisition, frown at your thoughts, that's literally what it is. They want to have,
They want to
anyway.
Wag their finger at you.
Yeah. That leads me to the TSA stuff.
Yeah, I've seen the headlines where it's been a complete breakdown. I don't necessarily know the details behind why.
Some of what I've been reading though is apparently they have a hideous amount of turnover in the TSA.
Yeah, because it's probably a shitty job.
Like all government bureaucracy stuff. But also
you're hated because you're worthless and
yeah, but also a lot of government jobs they just overhire in terms they have all these programs to make sure they hire minorities and everything else. And so. You're getting people that it sounds good to them at first because it's better than the McDonald's job they're going to get, but then you're hated and you're.
It's probably a boring, shitty job.
Yeah, it's a boring, shitty job,
regardless of the moral aspect.
It's a boring, shitty job that verified to accomplish roughly nothing,
right?
And to fail many times as well.
Fail and you're hated,
right? On top of that, though, there is apparently during this time that nobody in the big media, of course, reported on right away that the government workers union involved with the TSA workers is doing some sort of negotiation.
Okay. So they're having them slow down on purpose or something.
So that it's
strike.
It's obvious. It's obvious that they're being lazy because their bosses want them to
look what it would be like
if we didn't have enough money. Of course we need more money for our programs. Right. And look how bad things will be if we don't get it. Oh,
I say, hey, look how bad it is with them there. I say, get them.
There's a quick way to. Yeah, exactly. There's a very fast way to speed up the lines. Get rid of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And put all of our security on immigration border.
Flights. Put it on the airlines themselves.
Yeah.
Make sure they have to carry insurance now. So if they're getting blown up all the time, then insurance is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
So it's on them, and it'll be their best interest to get in people fast and happy.
Right.
Because if they don't, they're like, fuck this. Delta's security is whack. I'm going through this other airline.
Right. Yeah. Well, I would also just put honestly, we had plenty of time where
And you better believe they'd be like advertising, like this one has 3 armed guards on the plane. They'd be like, sweet,
yeah,
and you wouldn't have to worry so much about getting through security because the places would just be.
And not only that, though, but I mean, we had plenty of time where there really wasn't much security in the airports, and not much happened. The problem was when we started letting people in that wanted to use planes as terrorist devices. Like, you know how you could have stopped the 9/11 bombing? Not letting them into the country.
Right.
You know, like, fancy how that would work. Fancy how a moratorium on all Muslim immigration.
Or if you had an armed guard on those planes, that would work too.
That worked too, you know. And heck, you can even, you know, the airlines could decide maybe they want to have, you know, special guns that aren't made to penetrate the outer walls. And like taser weapons, you know.
They do all sorts of shit.
You know? You could even, if you want, you know, it'd probably be better and less sue-worthy if you just, like, gassed the back room with, like, sleep gas, and then everybody else later wakes up and be like, oh, one of them had a heart attack, sorry, we stopped a bombing.
Right.
You know, like, one of our passengers had a heart attack.
Or you get sued by one person instead of by the entire families of everyone who died in it.
Right, yeah, exactly. But that's what's so funny. It's like everything is just these cancerous, dumb ideas that aren't about results anymore.
No, they're about like showing.
They're just about like getting power for little petty groups that
or just getting contracts for something. Like you said, it's about this is more about a union contract than it is about anything to do with the airline industry or even terrorism or security.
Funny how it coincides.
Yeah, I mean, funny how that works.
Yeah, there's no proof that that's what it's about. But okay, come the fuck on.
Right.
You know, like
what a coincidence.
What a coincidence that these recent negotiations have happened recently, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Hilarious.
Anyway.
I hadn't seen that, but that makes total sense.
Right. It may not overlap perfectly in the dates department.
But it's not like they didn't know about
There's no way it's not a factor.
Right.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, and it's also just... I guess last thing... maybe not the last thing, but maybe the last thing here. Because I think that's about all the topics I had prepared. I was watching watching with somebody else, like my girlfriend, you know, likes the Kimmy Schmidt show.
I haven't watched the new season yet, so no spoilers.
Okay, well, no real spoilers here, but just I was watching that with her, and the show's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny, but it's also obviously I'm not the target demographic kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's obviously one that's made kind of... It's not exclusive for women, but it's you know made by women show writers about a female character, and there's like. There is not a single straight male character in the show.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, except for the only one was like the Reverend, who was
who was a lunatic, and then
took advantage.
A couple boys that she was interested in, but they'd all flaked out on or something.
Right.
You know,
like the rich dude.
There's only supporting cast characters show up every third episode that are her love interests or whatever. So. There's not, you know, and so it's obviously a little bit
of like the husband of the rich lady,
right? Who's like there,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you know, and the Indian father who shows up every couple episodes. Which I think that joke is kind of funny to me. That joke is hilarious. The fact that she was like an Indian who wanted to go to New York so bad she like bleached her hair.
Yeah.
She, in her heart, she was a valley girl kind of thing, or like a rich white mistress, and so she went to New York.
I do like the part in the first season where they're talking about like. Having to use every part of the buffalo, even the poop. And he was like, no one said you had to use the poop.
Her mom was like, no one said to use the poop, honey.
No one said to use the poop.
Right, yeah. Those kind of jokes were like, they're just normal, like, farmer people, and their daughter is all, like, convinced she's some socialite.
And they had that crazy old woman, like their landlady,
yeah,
who was like, oh, you know men invented high heels because women never invent anything.
Right, yeah, and they have some funny jokes that are probably supposed to be, like, offensive.
It's supposed to be, like, ironic.
They had another joke in this one where she goes to, one of the characters goes to see a psychiatrist for something, and the landlady there, and she's like, oh, what? And it's like, my psychiatrist, she said, she goes, she,
yeah.
Like,
she had another one.
Like, that explains it.
She turned on the news, like, oh, I can't get my news from a woman.
Right, yeah. She's all like stuck in the. You know, it's supposed to be a joke about how she's stuck in the past, but you know, it's just kind of funny.
It is funny, yeah.
Yeah, so the show is not poorly written in those senses. Like they obviously made to poke fun of a lot of different things, but it's just like I was watching it, and this would be mild spoiler territory, just about the premise of one episode. There's an episode where the gay roommate guy, Titus or whatever, the black guy,
Titus Andromedon,
right? Yeah, obviously over the top character. Yeah. But there's like an episode where he's, because they're always perpetually broke, he goes for some medical trial and he's not allowed to shave his head during the medical trial because it's like this old man like bald on the top,
right, like a monk kind of thing.
Right, yeah, it's supposed to like make your hair grow back, you know, and it's all joking about how like they just call him all right meat, you know, take off, let us see the hair, like they're treating him terrible.
Yeah,
and then but he's walking around town now looking like an old dude because his hair's growing in weird. And he's at a movie theater, like some kid asks him to buy tickets because he's an old guy. Like, hey, get me these R-rated tickets. I gotta impress this girl. And so he's like hanging out with this kid and like giving him life advice. And the kid says something along the lines of like, "Oh, my dad never does this for him." And he's like, "Oh, it's good to have a son," kind of thing or whatever. And it's like kind of funny, but at the same time, it's also just like this is the annoying state of things. Like I can't. This also touches on there's this game coming out, which I've got to play the beta. I already pre-ordered the game. It's like from Blizzard, which is the it's basically the Disney of game makers because they're huge,
right? And
they're well respected for their craftsmanship. But they're also just like Disney, so full of cuck stupidity that it's like insulting sometimes. Yeah, like literally, there was a big controversy over this game where somebody on one gaming news site complained that in the game when you win a round and if your character had the most points or did something amazing, it'll show a little video. It'll show your winning team, and you can pick you can unlock special poses. Like so, it shows a lineup,
power pose,
and it'll show like your character, the guy you're playing, a big knight, and he's like raw, or you can pick and so one of the characters is this female character, and one of the poses you can unlock is the classic turning the butt to the camera, turning over the shoulder kind of thing, and she's like brandishing a gun. And somebody complained that it doesn't fit the character, and it's just a sexualization of her, like holding her ass to the camera. And there's another character that does this too, but nobody complained at that character because she's like the femme fatale, villainess character. Right. And all of a sudden that was sexy. But like this happy, female character who's like a quippy, like it's something. So they changed it. Well, the funny thing was somebody changed it. A, it was dumb that they caved.
Right.
B, somebody who worked for them was obviously not a complete tool because what they changed it to was those. Like pinup art poses that would be on the sides of airplanes, where some chick's like, this, it's her like doing one of these little capering dance-looking things while holding the guns, and it's still basically her ass to the camera, but it looks more playful, less sexy. So it's like,
that's funny.
It's like a nice little like fuck you from somebody inside the thing. But overall, the whole point I'm trying to make is like, I can't find any entertainment that is not suffused with these,
somehow,
these dumb ideas where they're trying to prove like, oh look, gay guys can be good parents too, and it's like nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody fucking cares. Like the 10 people that do care just happen to work in Hollywood, and that's why we're all subjected to them caring.
Right.
It's like I really care about gay things. Like most people, what they care about gay stuff. They don't want to deal with it. There's 10 people out there that think that all gay people should be rounded up. And there's 10 gay people that think we should make all people deal with gay problems.
And everyone else
doesn't fucking care.
Yeah, exactly.
Just leave us alone.
That's what I've always said.
We don't want to hear from Westboro Baptist, and we don't want to hear
when these people
from
talk about like
whatever
the fat
singer,
acceptance or whatever it is at Westboro, and I'm like, or like the millennials this and breastfeeding that, and like whatever the issue is, like want to know the truth? Nobody fucking cares about you. You gotta live your life. Like no one fucking cares whether you live or die. Like nobody cares.
You are an ant on the infant.
I don't mean that in that they hate you. I mean that they literally don't care.
Right,
they literally do not care about you at all.
Now that kind of is what feeds into it. Everyone wants the attention. It's society's gotten so big that I will say.
Well, that's why you see this fight for everyone to be special.
Right.
And they're like, oh, I'm a bipolar, transgender this, millennial this, oh, I'm an introvert this, I got the... And like they try to label every little aspect of themselves to be this special snowflake. And I'm like, stop trying to be special. Just try to be better.
Right, exactly. Like, don't be special, just be noble. Just be good. Just be
better than you were yesterday.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's a fundamental difference, and this goes back to kind of the anonymous conservatives' RK theory ideas.
RK selection.
Basically that there's people genetically hardwired to seek status as a means of... that's like the only thing they can possibly care about.
Self-actualization. Yeah.
Like they can't conceive of not caring about group status.
Right.
And the other people who see group status as reward for actual achievement, versus those people who think
the group status is the award in and of itself,
or is the achievement.
That's what I mean. Is the achievement in and of itself.
Right.
So then it makes sense to like fabricate some sort of quote unquote achievement to get the status, because the status is the achievement, so it doesn't matter how you get it.
Right. The end justifies the means.
As long as you're high status and you've won. Yeah.
Right. But to them, what's so funny is that their idea of high status is just attention. It's not high status like a king who's like big and important because you do big and important things.
Because those are because of something.
Right. It's high status literally because
I'm so you get people like Obama and like Hillary who've never actually done anything.
Yeah.
They're just like positions aren't accomplishments.
That was a good thing, a good example. Like he was commenting on a story where somebody was interviewing Hillary Clinton and they mentioned how Bush had been quoted as saying, like, they're talking about, what do you think your legacy is going to be about this Iraq war thing? It's like, a legacy? I don't worry about that. I just want to, as much as I think Bush did plenty of things wrong, he was in at least in that way, not...
and regardless of maybe even he was being dishonest when saying that, but the point stands. Like, you shouldn't care.
She actually said to the interviewer, "That's horrible. Like, I don't think George Washington spent his time not worrying about, like, his legacy." I'm like, I guarantee you George Washington did not give a fuck.
Yeah, about
like,
how he was going to be perceived.
He probably cared about his legacy in the sense of that he wanted to found a nation.
He wanted his
that
reputation
would
to
go
be of doing the right thing.
Right. But that's
not because he cared just about his reputation. Like, these people, they literally don't care if they've actually done the right thing as long as everyone thinks they've done the right thing.
Exactly. That's it.
So then if that changes, then they go to, go about how to make sure that they still think they did the right thing. Whereas someone like George Washington, if he thought he did the right thing and everyone thought so, he'd be like, great. And then if all of a sudden the public mood changed to where they think that wasn't the right thing, he'd be like, fuck all you.
Right. He's like,
I did the right thing and I know it.
It would be the classic stance of, like, the lone man going, I did the right thing and I will be judged only by God. Fuck you.
And if you think that that's right, then you can... The hell with you.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then...
Whereas them, you see this all the time with social justice. Like, they'll make a stance or some sort of word, and they're like, yes, I'm all about this. And like, no, we don't do that anymore. Yeah, I'm never about that. I'm all about this now. And it's because they're not really about trying to do what they think is the right thing.
Tossed about by the waves. They're about to take their own stance.
Yeah, they're about being perceived as being good.
Right.
The perception itself is reality to them. So, if they're being perceived by the majority as being a bad person, then they feel like they're a bad person.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's probably all the topics I have, so I think it will be a good place. We're about 50 minutes here, so...
Sounds good.
Yeah, so... I will just end with saying, it's hard, because it's, like, impossible to see almost any... That's one of the reasons, back to Captain America, all the way back to the beginning. I was hoping for a bit more, like, like, I wanted people to come...
Same vein as number 2.
It was unrealistic to expect.
Right.
Simply because Disney makes it. It's honestly good... It's honestly amazing how free of a lot of bullshit it is, considering Disney, the company that wanted to say we'll never film in Georgia again.
Right. At this point, I'm surprised he's not like, you know what? Maybe I should just be Captain Good instead of Captain America.
Right. Yeah. Maybe I should just be Captain
Countries.
World.
Yeah, I should be Captain World. Captain Globalism.
Right. Yeah. Captain Everybody. Captain Everybody's here to make you all safe. Captain Safe Space is here.
Captain Safe Space.
Right, yeah. Captain Safe Space is here, everybody.
Hide behind my shield. It's a safe space.
I will soothe you with this calming music of Aboriginal
and
pipes.
Gender-neutral
words. Like, I put on lipstick so I can identify with you, Black Widow.
Yeah.
Watch as I wear these heels to my ROTC class, you know? Jeez. We have to be thankful at least they didn't do that. I mean, they have to be... I'm sometimes afraid that they didn't do that simply because they knew how ill-received it'd be, not because they wouldn't want to do it.
Well, of course they would want to, but at least it would be ill-received still. So.
Right, yeah. There's still enough spine left in America
to... cobbled together a complete spine out there.
Somewhere, right, yes. But that's the great hope is that, like I said, that it's not that Trump is Trump, it's that Trump portends people getting their spine.
And that brings up something real quick. There was some article someone wrote about how, like, a bunch of Trump bros have been, like, inspired to improve their lives due to Trump, like, because there's now this thing called, like, make yourself great again instead of make, like, a movement. So I'm like, that's awesome. But, like, regardless of what you think about Trump, how many of the other candidates, do you think anyone in the history, regardless of what you think about his policies or his personality, anyone in the history of America has been, or in the history of her life, has been inspired to improve themselves based on Hillary Clinton. Or even Bernie Sanders, inspired to improve themselves? No. They want
one or two people that followed because they said women could be in politics. But
that's not improving yourself.
That's just joining a field.
Yeah, that's joining that's joining a mindset of, like, maybe they were just in a slave mindset. Now they're identifying as a woman instead of someone doing whatever they want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so that actually, like, anchors them to that slave mindset. It doesn't help them free from it, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or help free themselves from it.
Yep.
Whereas something as broad as make yourself great again, like, improve yourself. Like, here's this guy, he's got a powerful mindset, doesn't do drugs or alcohol, you know, he doesn't listen to people saying he's shit, he just goes out and achieves anyway.
Yeah.
As the Lebowski would say.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Went out and achieved anyway.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
The bums will always lose! Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Hillary, you got to hear that, Hillary and Bernie? Bums will always lose.
All right. Peace.
Peace out.